What's up, bitches? Core, how's my volume? Is it too loud? Is it too low? Any problem or no?
No, you sound good to me. I know we were having problems last week with the volume and shit, but I think everything sounds better right now.
Yeah, virtually every fucking interview I've done with anybody
Hmm.
ever, there's some problem with the audio. Like whenever I do Skype talks, and I've always I always have to fiddle with this microphone I have, this USB mic, and
Hmm.
I don't like I always hear myself much louder than the person with me hears me, I guess, or and I also hear I hear you now much lower than me, and that's not necessarily because my shit is fucked up. It's just that for whatever reason my voice comes in louder through my own headphones. So I know nothing about fucking technology. I'm such an idiot. When I was talking to Sam Harris, I was like so low, like meh, 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 meh. And he was like, anyway, like I was saying, and it just came across like weird,
Yeah,
and
his
it
shit was
didn't
like
wasn't
OD, like
smooth.
empowering.
Yeah. How's it going, man? What's up?
Same shit, just coming to you as a champion today. Brought my little trophy here. Won a chili competition cook-off yesterday at my gym.
A chili cook-off.
First place,
What
bitches.
the fuck? A chili cook-off. First of all, I've never seen you cook shit in your life, so that
I
can't be
know.
real.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, so they have every year, I guess, they have like a chili competition where like people just make their different variations of chili and shit like that. And so Molly, my fiance, is like she loves chili. And meanwhile, we're both lazy as fuck, so we never cook. We don't like we eat just McDonald's, Burger King, all that shit. I'm not into like putting shit together and making a fancy meal, but she's really into chili is her thing. So my friend, I don't you know Dean? I don't want to put his
yeah.
last name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's got like supposedly this bomb chili, and Molly's always like, I've always heard her raving like, Dean's got the best chili. Like out of all the chilies I've tried, Dean has it. So our gym put on like their Facebook page. It was like chili cookout like competition or some shit, and I was like thinking, I was like, if she really likes his chili and she's tried mad chilies, that shit could probably win. So I was like, so I wrote on the group, I was like, if I get this recipe from my boy, it's a wrap. Like nobody's touching our shit. And everybody's like, nah, nah, you don't understand. Like our shit is bomb. And I was like, all right, whatever. So he gave me the recipe, and you know, I helped buy it all, but Molly really made all that shit and put it together and did like all these little crazy like
And then you
olive
brought it in and
leaves.
acted like you made it?
Yeah. Well, she was there with me, but she let me take all the credit. So they had like 10 different chilies, and it was like a taste test. Everybody was trying everybody else's chilies. And before I saw that our chili was really getting like popping, like everybody was eating our thing. Um I was reading all the recipes from the other people's shit because you had to write it out. People had like glazed sweet potatoes and like chipotle chicken chili, and I was like, oh fuck, like my chili sort of looks slayed compared to all these other ones. But then the competition started, and they had all these little like mini like mouthwash cups to like
Mm-hmm.
put the chilies in. So everybody was doing it, everybody's doing it, and I didn't think anybody was fucking with my chili, and I was like, damn man, I'm a little nervous. But then I saw this one dude who's like a pretty good CrossFitter, like rugged dude, and like definitely has like no politics in mind. He's just the type of dude. It's like if he tastes some shit, like that's what he's gonna rock with. So I saw him grab a bowl, and he fucking beeline right to my chili, and I was like, it's a wrap. Like
You're gonna lose your trophy now, though, because you just outed yourself that you didn't make it, and there's
no, but I
definitely Secular Talk listeners in Chicago, and they're gonna go and fucking ruin it.
bro, I was stirring the pot. I made some of the chili. I my hand mixed some of the
That
shit.
doesn't
That
fucking
count.
count. You can't just stir the shit.
If you're a sous chef at a restaurant and the chef is making some banging shit and you come over with some seasoning and just tickle it on a little bit,
And then it's
you
all
help make
yours.
that shit.
Is it still the CrossFit gym that you go to? Is that the one that
Yeah,
did this? So they do.
yeah,
Do they do? I guess they do a bunch of crazy shit. Like they do chili fucking making competitions. Do they do
yeah.
other things or no?
No, more just like well, they've got like Christmas parties, Halloween parties, and shit like that. But I think chili is just like a thing they do. I don't. Chili competitions are pretty big, like universally.
I've never fucking heard of one around me. I've
Yeah,
never been to
now that I
one.
just said that, I was like, man, when I was in New York, if someone was like, "Yo, we're having a chili competition," I'll be like, who eats chili besides someone at Wendy's and like there's nothing else on the menu.
Yo, what I mean, what is Chicago like the chili spot or some shit? Everybody just loves
I
chili in
guess
Chicago.
Midwest people like chili. You should do a poll of like who likes the most chili? Is it Midwest? I think Midwest would probably win on who likes chili the most.
The level to which I don't give a fuck as to what places like chili is immeasurable.
What would be New York's competition though? Just like pizza or some shit? Not even because there's pizza in Chicago too.
Yeah, the
Like
deep dish, which is also delicious.
Yeah, that shit is banging.
Yeah. So I got a
But
bunch
yes,
of shit.
anyway, first fucking place.
What's that?
I said anyway, first fucking place.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you first held it up, I was like, this is gonna be for CrossFit. Like
Oh hell no,
you
I've
knocked
never won a
out some competition. No?
No, hell not me. I'm not good.
Yeah, well, you do it enough where over time you'll definitely get good. I mean, you're in better shape
Yes.
than me. I'm a lazy fuck now, man. I don't have like time to work
Yeah,
out as
you
much as I
still
want
stay in
to.
shape. But like you've won trophies for like awards and like that shit is mad gratifying when like you get your name gets called for first place in
Oh,
something.
of course. It feels
Like I
awesome.
can't like, dude, look at the size of this fucking trophy. It's like this is my head. It's tiny.
But you
Imagine
loved it.
winning like an NBA Finals MVP trophy or some shit. Like
Oh,
I'm on
forget
top
it.
of the world right now.
Yeah, I know. Forget it. It's a great feeling. That's why people bust their ass to try to win shit. But then on the other part, in the other part of my mind though, I think like I if it requires doing anything outside of just being good at the thing, then fuck your trophy. Like I know for online they have like the Webbies and they have some other shit and like they treat it kind of like, it's like some shit where you have to go and suck people off and act like, ho 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 ho, here, let's have fucking dinner together and talk about shit and I'll convince you to be my friend and then you vote for me. And I'm so fuck that, man. Like I'm
Well,
not
yeah,
gonna.
there's a lot of politics that comes into
Yeah, if the
awards
shit like if
also.
I'm best at X, give me a fucking trophy for X and call it a day. You can't like because that you know what it is. It takes away the pure competition aspect of it. Like that's why we like sports, for example. Like it's fun, but then also it's just, there's no bullshit. It's a meritocracy. All right, you played harder, you won. Look at the fucking scoreboard. So here's your trophy. You're better, right? So you have something to push for and strive for. Once you add in other factors, it's like well that's not it's not the same thing.
Such a
It's
good
you just
point,
made it
dude.
totally different.
No, it's an awesome point. Like, yeah, that's where like bullshit politics comes into place. Like, I just, I know we're switching topics quick, but like, I read a topic for like Leonardo DiCaprio's new movie. It's like some crazy movie where he like camps out and does some adventurous,
Yeah,
wild
look
shit.
badass.
Yeah, and they were like, this dude slept in like a bunker for like 2 weeks to train for this movie, and the meme was like DiCaprio is willing to sleep in a bunker for 2 weeks. Just give this guy a fucking Oscar already.
Yeah,
Like,
not only that, man, like he already should have fucking won one a long time ago, you
yeah,
know?
that's true.
Denzel should have
But
won
like,
one before he won one. I think he had to wait they waited all the way till training day to give him one. Like, are you
yeah,
fucking kidding
Jadakiss
me?
said that
You're waiting until
shit
like
had to
the
be
year
crooked before he
2000
took
when
it.
Denzel's been doing his shit since like 1980 fucking 7. One of the best actors and they're like, and a lot of people said and there's a point to this. Like why did Denzel like Jadakiss said, why did Denzel have to be crooked before he took it? Like
Yep.
what you couldn't give him some shit for one of the and didn't John Q come out before
Yeah,
that
John
shit?
Q was a fucking banger, dude. Like
And they didn't
that.
give him shit for that? I'm not sure.
No,
So
he didn't get shit.
everybody listening can fact check me. I really don't know for sure, but I think John Q came out before Training Day, and he didn't get
I
dick
think
for
he did
that.
too. Yeah, I know, and that's what's crazy. DiCaprio's made bangers, dude.
Oh,
Like
unbelievable, unbelievable.
even like he was Shutter Island,
Shutter
which was I
Island,
mean a good one.
Inception.
Inception.
He did the shit
Like
about the dude with the planes, which I forget the name, which was good, and I didn't think it was going to be good. I don't know.
oh, Cat with Tom Hanks. Catch Me If You Can.
No, Catch Me If You Can is a different one, but that was also a banger.
Yeah, like
He was in fucking
should have
Titanic.
got like yeah, Titanic. Yeah, that's crazy.
One of the highest grossing movies ever, and they're like, we're gonna pass on you for what?
Yo,
What
they're
are you
definitely just
saying? That doesn't
playing
make any
him at
sense.
the Oscars. Like they're definitely that's just like an ongoing joke. It has to be because he's made bangers.
I know. Poor him though, like to get no official recognition. But it's whatever because he's like I feel like since he's so good, people are gonna remember him anyway. Like there's some douchebag who probably won an Oscar in like the year
Yeah.
whatever 2004, and people don't remember that motherfucker because he's not done anything since. DiCaprio just
it's
keeps
still-
dropping hot shit.
He does, but it's like a top sports athlete who hasn't won the chip, like a Dan Marino. Like, yeah, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but you still can't throw him in that conversation. Well, you
that
can,
goes
but
back
he
to our
didn't
other
win a Super
conversation though. It's subjective once you get into arts. Like when you get
Yeah.
into football, that's like literally he just didn't win it. So like semi fuck him. But like in arts, it's art. Like how do you
Yeah,
what some
there's a
old
random
prick
guy
in
voting
Hollywood
or
is gonna
some
choose shit? You know?
That's a good point too. Yeah, I didn't look at it that way. There's people voting for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could be right. Maybe it's the case that like in 20 years, people only look back at like who won the Oscars as opposed to, hey, let's talk about the best movie, whatever. I don't know, but it's possible that he doesn't get the recognition he deserves, which is fucked up. And by the way, for Leonardo DiCaprio, I know he's a big fan of like progressive talk and liberal talk.
Oh, he
Because
listens to your shit?
no, I don't. No, no, no. Let's be clear here. I have no fucking clue. But I know he loves Tom Hartman, and he's even worked on some projects with Tom Hartman for climate change. And Tom Hartman's a liberal radio host. And Tom Hartman, he's been at it forever. He was mostly on AM radio. Now he's on internet and AM radio, and he's on RT, Russian television. And so he's involved in it. But I mean, overall, on YouTube, I'm significantly bigger than Tom Hartman, and there's a chance, I don't know, there's a chance that he knows of my show, but if he does know of it, me and TYT, he doesn't follow us on Twitter. I checked, I stalked him like a weirdo, but he doesn't follow us, so maybe
Is he
it's
active
not
on
true.
Twitter?
What's that?
Is he active on Twitter? Because I don't know. I mean,
I don't
like,
know.
I doubt he gives
because
a shit
checked,
about
like,
Twitter.
a
He
few
just
months
seems
ago,
like
and it looked like he doesn't tweet often, but like he is following Tom Hartman and some others. So anyway, that's my way of saying, hey, Leo, what's up, man? Holla at me if you're watching this. He's
yeah, if you're watching, give him a shout out.
big Kyle and Corin fan. I know people who know him, but I obviously don't know him. You remember when I was working at the dealership? I don't actually. He probably wouldn't care if I drop his name, so I'll drop his name anyway. That guy Shanil I worked with.
Oh yeah, that was the dude.
Yeah. He's a model, but he hangs out with like fucking Victoria's Secret models and shit.
Yeah.
And he's been repeatedly to places where like he'll see Leonardo come in with like 84
really?
models, smoking his blue e-cigarette. Fucking always looks like scruffy as fuck, but it doesn't matter because he's Leonardo DiCaprio, so he can just stroll in. Yeah, it's crazy.
He's living because he could throw like a beanie cap on and like he'd get recognized, but he could grow a crazy beard out and sort of be a little incognito.
No, I don't think so. You think so?
You don't think?
I mean, his face is. It's kind of like,
his face is pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's knowable. It's not like one of those,
But he's almost so much like he's so big of a superstar that it's like you already know you can't even like go up to him type of deal. Where it's like,
no,
if
it's
he's
way too big. Like
nobody. Yeah.
Joe Rogan was talking about this, and we've spoken about this before too. But you hit a point where you're so fucking big that like you're not a normal human anymore, and you can't
Like a
have
Jay-Z
normal
or
human
something like
interactions. You'll only want to talk to people that you knew before you became this person, this entity that's bigger than you are. Anybody new who meets you is just it's a different dynamic. It's like they look up to you. Oh my God, you're like a demigod to them. That's not. I mean, that's why one of the reasons why I'm sure Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus, all these people kind of go a little crazy at certain points. Because when you're surrounded by people all day who are like, oh yes, you're so awesome. Oh my God, you've never done anything wrong. And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna fucking pop Xanax all day and do coke and drive 1 trillion miles an hour in a Lamborghini and try to get blown by Swedish models. It happens.
Because they're all telling you you're the man and everything you're doing is awesome and right. So you're like, oh fuck it, I'll just keep doing cool shit.
And then you're not like connected to reality anymore. And then when there comes a time, like sometimes with these child stars where they get old and they're out of it now and they're no longer as famous because like a whole new generation came up and they don't know, like that's when it really gets ugly when they're like, we're super famous and then they're like 52 and they haven't done shit in a long time and they're just like going
Screech.
fucking nuts. That's got to be bad. All right, I got a bunch of shit I want to talk about, man. So first of all, what do I want to start with here? I'll go with the Malia Obama story. I don't know if you saw this, but Obama's daughter, one of Obama's daughters, there was a leaked Snapchat of her where she's allegedly like playing beer pong at a college, at some college when she was visiting. And I didn't read the article, I just read the headline, but I thought, man, it must suck to be the president's daughter or, anybody who, like, you're famous as a result of them being famous. Ooh, that must suck.
Like celebrity royalty, yeah.
Because she's 17 years old, right? So, it's way too young, people would say. But I really don't think it's too young. Like I said, I think everything should be legal at age 16. So, like, and I'm sure she's smart enough to make her own decisions and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, so just the fact that she's playing fucking beer pong was a national headline, man. Like, can you imagine? And this is what I think the result of that is. I obviously have no evidence of this in her specific case, but with a lot of people this happens, where that's such a repressive environment where like everybody's tracking your every move in that way that
Hell yeah.
like you're gonna lash out, and you know, for dudes you're gonna want to go nuts and do drugs and fuck as many women as possible, and for women, to steal a line from Louis C.K., you're gonna want to suck a bag of dicks. Like, you're just gonna want to lash out and start sucking dicks all over the place and fucking doing drugs and just be like, fuck you and your Puritan fucking morals, always judging me. I was just playing beer pong and now there's a national headline over it? That's fucking crazy.
It's wild. I mean, that's why you see all the celebrity, like, I know for a specific case, like, well, there's tons of people you can point out, but like Tommy Hilfiger's son, you look at him and he's like Malibu's most wanted times 100. Like, he's like a little wankster, like, he's got tattoos up to his neck and like short little white guy like dealing drugs, and like, you know, they're trying to get their parents' attention, but then like it's like a lose-lose for the parents, because it's like, I'm sorry, I'm very successful and I really want to focus on my business, so I can't give you the time of the day. And where the kids are like, all right, then I'm going to get your attention this way. I'm going to start dealing drugs and get tattoos, and the media's going to get out that way. Whereas if they're trying to be a good kid, I mean, like, you got to put it in perspective. It was like, look at, if you're like any parent on Facebook and you see like your 17, 18-year-old daughter at their freshman year of college playing beer pong, you're like, oh, have fun, sweetie, or something like that if the picture got out. Whereas like if it's a big-time celebrity, the media's going to blow that shit out of proportion, when in reality, it's just like any other kid out there doing what any other kid would fucking do.
Yeah. I feel like context is so important, but it shouldn't be. And when I say that, I mean, like, if somebody's like the president and then you're their kid, like, that context alone comes with so much baggage, and then that's going to influence how you act. But, like, it would be nice.
You can't win either way.
It would be nice if it was the opposite. Like, if you're, regardless of what context you're born into, you're born into a family with poor parents that never made that much money or not famous, and like you can still rise above and it'll be okay, or you're born into a super rich family and you know, you're in the spotlight even though you don't want to be, and instead of going crazy you can keep your shit together. It just always looks like there's, and maybe it's only because this is what the media covers, but it looks like there's such a big effect to that. Like even Donald Trump, people don't know this, but Donald Trump's dad was fucking filthy rich, son. $400 million or some shit he was worth. Now Donald's worth more than that, but like, he was raised thinking like you're the shit and here's all this fucking money, and you know, you can go do your own business deals and whatnot, but you know, you're of a higher breed, son. Like, and this mindset led him to be an insufferable douchebag who thinks he's God's gift to earth, and meanwhile he was born with a fucking silver spoon in his mouth. The context is always so fucking important, and it looks like people always gravitate towards an extreme. Like, it's either, you know, you're going to be super successful and follow in the footsteps of whoever your parents are, or it's the opposite, and you're going to fucking, everything goes crazy, you're off the rails. It doesn't seem like anybody's ever, like, their parents are super famous, or the president, or some leader, and then it's like they become an accountant who has, like, you know, 3 kids, a dog, and, like, just lives a normal-ass life. I feel like that never happens.
Like a school teacher in the Bronx or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, but I almost like that, you know, there was this picture of her playing beer pong or whatever, like, because then it's just like, oh, okay, she's like a normal person, you know. I see it as that way, as opposed to like, all right, they didn't catch her, you know, like the Prince's kids when they wore the swastika uniform at the Halloween party or something like that.
I didn't know this story.
Yeah, like Prince Harry or something like that.
He wore a swastika shit?
Yeah, he wore like a German like
shit. I didn't know that.
like outfit to a Halloween party. Like, whereas if they got caught doing some shit like that, I'm like, fuck that dude, because he knows he's like a little like rich, pritch, like asshole, and now he's gonna wear this like Nazi uniform to some Halloween party. Whereas like she's just at a regular party, just doing regular shit, you know?
Son, how does
You
she
see my
date?
comparison a little bit?
How does she date?
Yes, yeah.
Like, you're not gonna date the president's daughter. You're just not gonna do that.
Yeah, that's got to be so wild to grow up in that lifestyle. Like, how do you meet a guy? The guy would have to approach. You can't even approach her because you'd have to go through Secret Service to like hit them with a pickup line, and they'd have to approve of that shit.
And then let's face
she'd have
it,
to approve of that pickup line.
when people are 17, obviously they're doing a little something. You can't do that with the president's daughter. You can't do that. You can't do the basics,
crazy.
make out with her or whatever. Imagine asking the fucking president's daughter for a hand job or a blow job. It's just not possible. You just can't do it.
No. Nah, you can't. But do you think so? The kids get Secret Service also too, right?
I'm sure they do, yeah.
So the like Secret Service is like outside of that party, like while she's playing beer
That's
pong.
a great
It's just such a
question. I don't
crazy
know. That's a
concept.
great question. I mean, can
Oh,
you imagine they're just like they're good dudes, but they're like they understand that she's 17, and they're like do your thing, we got you. We'll like guard the door or whatever. But you can't,
it's such
man.
a
You just can't be that like. She's not even when she fucking leaves the White House. It's not going to be normal. Like with Chelsea Clinton, for example, she ended up getting married and all that
Mhm.
stuff. But like you can't. It's not. You're still the fucking president's daughter. You're not like any dude. The kind of guy it takes to walk up to the president's daughter, and talk to her like, yeah, hey, like I'm interested. Let's go on a date or something. It's almost like that dude has to be overly confident and arrogant. Like
Yeah.
the only person that's going to do that is Donald Trump. Like the next Donald Trump is the person who asks out the president's daughter. Like just
Yeah,
so.
and then in a way, like, would she want to date that guy?
And that's
Like
my
he's
point. Is like she's fucked.
yeah.
Well, I mean, what's she gonna do? Walk up to some normal ass dude and be like, "Hey, my name's Malia. I want
That's
to."
probably how it starts. Like she's probably the one who has to initiate it and tell Secret Service, like, hey, maybe I like this guy. I might talk to him today or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
like you have. I feel like if I'm the guy, I'd be like, yeah, you're really nice and stuff, but I don't want
You'd
to
be like,
die.
sure. Yeah,
I don't want
exactly.
the Secret
That's
Service
such
to
a
fucking choke me out.
But they're just fucking human beings. Like I know this is different, but I heard Hillary Clinton telling a story when she was first lady,
Mhm.
and she just wanted to like really just go for a walk or something like that outside the White House. So she put on like a Cubs hat and just like some sunglasses and told Secret Service like I just want to go for a walk. And I think they might have walked with her, or followed her or whatever, but like she walked like 2 blocks from the White House, and she got stopped by like a family, and they were like, "Hey, excuse me, can you take a picture of us like in front of the White House?" And so like she stopped and took a picture of them in front of the White House, but little did they know that like that's Hillary Clinton. But like
Wow.
they can't do some regular shit like that. Like if she just wants to go to the mall, like if she saw a hot shirt at H&M or something she wants to buy, like that's a whole process within itself. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy how like they're on a pedestal that high and it's not even the president.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think it was Dave Chappelle who, in a stand-up, it said something like, you're too famous when somebody can suck your dick, and as a result of that, they're famous." That's what happened with Monica Lewinsky.
That's such a good
Like,
yeah.
think about, like, to say so, come here, darling, there's a future for you in it if you do this.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
that's such a ridiculous level of fame. Even, think about it, even for, like, other super famous people. Like, do
Kim
we
Kardashian.
know who blew Tom Hanks? Like, no. People just be like, whatever, it's Tom Hanks I care about, not the person who blew Tom Hanks. With the president, it's like, who blew you? Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Now we know her. Now it's a giant scandal. It's like that, there
Because
is a
there's that
level that's just too
intrigue
high.
factor. That's
All right.
wild though.
So, there's my Malia story. I felt weird even talking about the president's daughter. Like, Secret Service is going to bust down my door and fucking drag me away. At
There's
what
also that
time?
mystique too because there's not that many stories about their family, you know?
Yeah.
They're like interesting characters.
At what time is it inappropriate to continue to dress up for Halloween? At what age do you become super creepy?
At first, my first answer is gonna be never, but then I just pictured I don't know. I pictured like a 37-year-old man in a uniform, like a Halloween outfit, even being as G as he can, still just like, nah, you're not doing it, buddy. You know,
Yeah,
like
no.
the
So
hottest costume, like
gets-
anything.
it gets complicated, right? Because
it
okay, so
does.
it's acceptable. I don't know, maybe, and I feel like it's different for guys and girls too. I feel like there is a legit double standard here. I would
Yeah.
think. Yeah, like girls can get away with it longer than guys can, but like it becomes so it's unacceptable for a little bit in maybe your late 20s and early 30s if you're single, but then if you have kids and the kids dress up and you got to take the kids trick or treating, then maybe it becomes more acceptable. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so when you're young, let's all agree, obviously, perfectly normal. Everybody dresses up, has a good time, fun. And then, you get like teenage years, still cool. Early 20s, I'm going to go still cool because, like,
Yeah.
a lot of girls like to dress up in those incredibly slutty outfits.
Yeah.
And the
They all
guys
happen to
just
be fucking bunnies or something.
the guys just dress up as fucking whatever. Early
Mhm.
20s, I'm still going cool. Later 20s, I'm gonna let you get away with it, but I'm starting to look down on you a little bit. Like I'm starting to go, okay, come on, dude, you're 28, and you work whatever as a construction worker, and you're dressed like one of the Bee Gees right now. What the fuck you doing? And like, okay, so now I'm drawing the line at 30. Like, if you're single, and you're 30, 31, 32, 33.
So we're going single, because does it matter if you got if you're a couple?
Well, actually, couples still unacceptable. Okay, but married couple with kids when the kids are dressed up and you dress up with the kids, acceptable.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? There's different levels here.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because
also,
I was just gonna say point to that too. Yeah.
I'm gonna give the women an extra 2 or 3 years grace period in the early 30s. So I'm
for
gonna,
single women. For single women.
single women. So you're 30,
Okay.
31, 32. Female, single.
But it's still a little sad.
But you know what? It agreed. But it's like, it's enough where I'm gonna let you get away with it, but I'm gonna look down a little bit and be like, But once you get to like 35,
does it depend on the costume? Like if it wasn't some slutty shit, if they actually came through with just like a banana peel on or something like that, would you be like, okay? Like,
I'm still going no.
it doesn't matter what the costume is.
No. And actually, as a side conversation here, I do think like I have no problem whatsoever with the slutty fucking uniforms, costumes, whatever. Like, by all means, go ahead. But I also do think that like now, if you go to a Halloween store and you look around, virtually all the female, outfits are that. Like they're all slutty this, slutty that, slutty this, slutty that. Like I feel like they should be given more of an option. It's almost like,
well, it's geared toward that, so it'd be like, here's a Dorothy outfit, but the skirt is a little shorter,
yeah,
or like.
But I'm saying I think there are plenty of women out, and I've met them where they're like, I like dressing up for Halloween, but I don't like some years I don't want to look overly slutty and be fucking fucked by 80 men. Like, and I get that. So it's like I feel like they should have more of an option between the two. But with that being said, I do like for slutty or non-slutty costumes, 35, yes, yeah, I'm going to need you to stop. I'm going to need you to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, if you're single and 35, it also depends on, I mean, like if you're going to a bar in the costume at like a Halloween party, then you're like, all right, maybe you shouldn't. But if you're going to like a house party or something, actually no, it's still pretty weird.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of any scenario, but like for a single guy at like 32 to 32 and up is a little bit like nah, like why are you wearing that Buzz Lightyear outfit?
Yeah,
or something?
there's like some kind of an evolution that happens where, you think when you're younger, well, you could basically get away with wearing a costume forever. Like that's just is what Halloween is. But then once you hit a certain age, you're like, no, like I'm 27. For the past probably 4 years, I didn't wear shit. And when I did wear something, I went with, like, I think the last costume I wore might have been just like a mask of a president because I'm Kyle and that's politics and I'm Kyle.
See, that's acceptable. If you do something related to your like genre, then maybe it's okay. Like,
but even like now, if I did that as 27, I mean, I guess I can get away with it, and other 27-year-olds can get away with it. But once I hit like 30, if I'm going out of the house in any mask,
no,
if
but
I
if
don't
you
have
did
kids,
something, so say you're like still like doing your show at like 37, and you somehow like for your Halloween episode, you got did up like Abraham Lincoln, did a top hat. I think that would be acceptable. I'm telling you.
Nope.
Whereas like I see it as like if a guy's like 40 or something and he's whatever, like a bank teller or some shit, or I don't know, an accountant, and he somehow made some costume where there was a desk around him, like maybe a little fake laptop, and he was just in a suit, and he was like, yeah, I'm dressed up as an accountant. I'll be like, I get it. Like,
so you're saying context matters, which is a good point. But for the Abraham Lincoln thing, I'm gonna explain to you why fuck no. Because the way YouTube works, like it's not like TV where it's just on that night and then it's done. My videos are up forever. So
yeah,
like,
your shit would get cut and pasted. Like
if somebody like, whatever, 2.5 months after Halloween is looking at old videos of mine and they come across me dressed as Abraham Lincoln, they might get that it's Halloween, but it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just don't do that.
I don't know. I think that would be pretty gangster. Or if like you had to like set that episode up so in the back it was just like there was no way for them to erase like this is a Halloween episode or something like that. Like
No,
I think that would be G.
I just came up with another, example where it's okay across the board. I don't care if you do these costumes forever. You could do these whatever age you want. If it's a wildly offensive costume, you can do it whenever you want. Like, then I'm fine with it. And I'll tell you why. So, remember, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time, I don't know how many years ago, 5 maybe more, where Henry, our friend Henry, dressed up as a priest and taped like a baby
I remember
to his
that.
dick area. And everywhere he went, people would be like, oh.
So they weren't even looking at the costume; they were just more looking at the content.
Yeah, I mean, it's offensive no matter how you slice it. But like, since it's so offensive, I'm gonna let you. I don't care if you're a 33-year-old dude. Like, if you want to wear a super offensive costume, that I get. Like, because you're just being a dick and you're trolling everybody. And I'm 100. See, and this is what separates me from like your standard PC liberals who like get offended at everything. I'm basically the exact opposite on that. I'm what now is being referred to as a cultural libertarian, people are calling it, where it's like you're just against anybody controlling anybody in a social context, where people always, I'm outraged over this, I'm outraged over that. I mean, the more offensive and outrageous your costume is, in like a tongue-in-cheek kind of way, the more I'm going to go, way to go.
Yeah, but then there's certain levels to it, like when Prince Harry just straight up wore a fucking Nazi outfit.
Yeah.
Then it's just like, yeah, you are just wearing like a Nazi outfit.
The difference, I think, is that I agree with you. Like that, and there was somebody who did like a dead Trayvon Martin one time.
Yeah,
You're going too far. I don't do it. But the difference between me and the overly PC libs is they'll literally say, like, you should be banned from wearing certain costumes that offend people. Like, I remember one time Chris Brown dressed up as, like, a Taliban dude or some shit. And everybody was like, oh, how dare you dress up as a Taliban guy. Like, I get it in that there are some things that genuinely go too far and you're tasteless. But I'm not going to, try to ban you from wearing it or censor you. Or like,
what are your thoughts on when like white people get outraged when they do like the blackface thing and maybe they'll put like some cornrows on or something?
Yeah, blackface, I agree, is also like I cringe when I look at it, and I'm like, ugh. And I think the reason for that one is that the history of it. So like again, there was a story where one dude got fired because he wore blackface on Halloween, and like there was outrage over it. I wouldn't fire that guy. I don't think that guy should have been fired. So when I say, hey, that goes a little too far, that crosses the line, it's different. Like, I'm not saying fire the person or arrest them or censor the shit they're doing. But the reason why I totally understand the outrage over blackface is that it's tied to a history where when people did that, it was specifically to mock black people as inherently inferior and specifically to say, hey, we believe in Jim Crow, we believe in segregation, we believe in slavery, we think you're worse and we're mocking you, we're outwardly mocking you, and it's in a malicious way. So again,
and there's no creativity to that shit
right,
either.
Right. Well, it's not even that. It's just it's tied to a history where you're beyond douchey for trying.
Yeah, like so someone couldn't come through with like a KKK costume on and be like 40 years old and be like, that's acceptable.
Well, I would probably just conclude that person is racist. Like you're racist. And thank you for broadcasting to the rest of the world how racist you are. And this is why I always say, like, to go back to the Nazi example you gave. Like, there's always stories I cover where there's a dude in, like, some Midwestern place or Southern place where they fly Nazi flags. Like, they'll put up a Nazi flag on their lawn or some shit. And it's like, holy shit, that's fucking nuts. But then some people start saying, well, whether it's the Confederate flag or the Nazi flag, we should probably ban it because we're at a time where that we know what you are if you fly that and it's not okay. I say the exact opposite. I'm like, no, let them fly it so that I know where that crazy motherfucker is all the time. I want to know where the dumb people are. I want to know where the crazy people are. I want to know where to tell my kids, hey, you need to stay away from that fucker.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a good ass point because that shit happens to me on Facebook. It's like I meet all these people. I'm like, oh, he's a cool ass dude. I like this dude, and then like. You really get to see people's true colors on Facebook when it's like some incident happens, like the I can't breathe, Eric Martin or
Eric Garner.
Eric Garner, sorry. You're like, okay, that guy's a dick. he's a
Yeah.
dick. Like you start to, you're right. If I didn't see all that shit, I would still just be like, maybe I'd go up to that guy and be like, man, that was an unfortunate situation. Like, that shouldn't have happened. And like he's gonna lie to my face and be like, yeah, you're right. Uh-huh. But then like now I could see on Facebook, it's like, man, fuck these fucking like black officers, this and that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna talk to this guy about the gym. I'm gonna talk to him about
Yeah.
sports. Like, so you're right. I'd rather drive by a house that's got a big Nazi flag outside of it so I could just be like, that guy's a fucking asshole. Never talk to that guy.
Exactly. And it's also the free marketplace of ideas. Like, nobody should be in favor of censoring, because the more people speak their mind, the more they are going to get their ass kicked in arguments. Like, the more people are going to say, no, you're wrong about this. Here's why you're wrong about this. And other people will see that and go, that dude is right and that person is wrong. Like, I never want to censor somebody who's a racist, because if you want to take the side of I'm a racist and we'll have a debate about whether or not racism makes sense, I'm going to fucking own you. You're going to look like the clown that you are. So it's, when you have a free marketplace of ideas, the good ideas typically beat the bad ideas. And whenever the bad ideas do beat the good ideas, well, that's just a context where we all need to get the fuck out. Like, you don't want to be in that place where,
But the people who don't agree, I remember I saw a tweet from you. I don't know. I think it was fairly recently. You were talking about something, and the guy responded and like threw out three different like things of why he was right, and you just like pointed them out, and you're just or like, man, I forgot what it was.
was
But the
it,
guy was like, I'm a scientist, or like you're naive, whatever.
No,
You're like,
I have a degree in this.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about. And then some insult, and I broke it down like,
yeah. I was like, that's
it's
perfect.
the way like that's trolling 101. Like, assert expertise. That's point number one. Point number two, smugly dismiss criticism, and then point number three, ad hominem attack. Like, throw a fucking, because unfortunately that's what we're at now. Where even a lot of smart people, unfortunately, I think, do this. Where instead of explaining why X is wrong, they just assert it and then throw an insult. So like, this is wrong. If you don't believe it, you're a fucking, whatever, fill in the blank with whatever negative thing you want. And it's like, but wait a second, you didn't prove dick. Like, you just said it's wrong. I am asserting this. And then if you don't believe it, you're an asshole. You're this, you're that. But you didn't explain why it is that the person's an asshole. You just said you're wrong, and now you're a fucking smug prick.
And fuck the credentials. Like, yeah, you can have the credentials to maybe have a degree in this shit or whatever, but you could still be wrong on a topic.
Oh, of course.
Just because you have that degree means every fucking thing you say is right? Like, look at
if
Ben
you
Carson.
have the credentials and you provide a good argument, yes, then I'm going to give you more credibility and more merit than somebody who just says they have the credentials and don't provide a good argument. You know what I mean? But that only makes sense in context. Like, I often talk about, sometimes people will tweet some stupid shit to me, and I'll say something along the lines of, your 5-minute Google search overrides my political science degree. But then I'll go on to explain, here's why you're wrong. Like, so in that context, it's fine, because I'm going to give you the information and the data and the reason why you're wrong. And then I'll say, and also, come on, like, who are we kidding here? I know what I'm talking about. When people argue with me about basic political science definitions. But if you just say, come on, I know this shit because of X, I have a degree. Well, then that doesn't mean dick to me.
Yep.
There are plenty of people who, that have degrees who take the most hideous positions on shit that are just factually incorrect.
That's what I was saying. Like, I just watched Real Time, and they were talking about Ben Carson, and like, he's a fucking genius. Like, what did he separate twins or some shit and save the world or whatever? But he
in
doesn't
neurosurgery, he's a genius.
Yeah, but like doesn't believe in like global warming and all that shit.
Evolution, yeah.
Yeah,
so he's
like
good only in that area of neurosurgery.
So it's like,
which is sad.
Yeah, I'm plugging in my computer.
All right, so let me go to my. What the fuck randomly happened here? You're showing the world your ass.
My bad. My battery was OD dying on my computer.
It's all right. You just showed the world your ass. And
how'd it look?
I didn't see. I didn't get the right angle here, but I think people might have gotten a little side cheek action there.
Is that like my Bieber pic?
Where people are like, "Ooh, yeah." Let me get to Jeb Bush because I got to squeeze this in before we finish up here.
Or that's what she said.
So Jeb Bush, I just saw this article today. It's not like a big enough story where I wanted to like discuss it on my show because there's not many facts involved with this. It's just how ridiculous he is as a person. He said the following, and I think he said this yesterday or something. He said, if this election is about how we're going to fight to get nothing done, then I don't want anything. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be elected president to sit around and see gridlock just become so dominant that people literally are in decline in their lives. That is not my motivation. I've got a lot of really cool things to do I could do other than sit around, be miserable, listening to people demonize me, and me feeling compelled to demonize them. That is a joke. Elect Trump if you want to elect Trump. So, I think that the most important part there is where he says, I've got a lot of really cool things I could do other than sit around and be miserable. And he's basically saying, you guys should be like thanking me that I'm running for president. Like you should be, happy that I've dared to grace you with my presence. And my main takeaway from this is, dude, he's so fucking entitled. Like daddy was president, his brother was president, and he views this as like, I'm allowing the American people to vote for me and witness my greatness. No, fuck you. You're polling at like 4% nationally. Nobody fucking likes you. We don't want to do dynasty families. Are you kidding me? Like, and meanwhile, he was bragging about his record in Florida. He was the governor in Florida during the boom, during the bubble, the peak of the bubble with the housing crisis and the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. So, like, the second he left office, everything fucking went, the bubble burst, and Florida was left worse off than any other state. It was like Florida and Nevada because of Vegas, where it was fucked up. But he's like running on his record about that. Like, it's just totally misleading, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You did the same policies as your brother did in Florida. So, like, how fucking arrogant is this guy, man? Like, he really thinks that he was born into this family, he's special because he was born into this family, this Bush family that's an elite family, it's a dynasty, and he thinks like, the peasants should be worshiping him, and meanwhile, if people like Donald Trump more than you, fuck you, like, the fucking ridiculous caricature of a human being, the capitalist douchebag with the fake hair and the bravado and the no substance to him. And you're so fucking boring and dumb that people look at you and they're like, I'd rather go with the fucking other guy, man. How sad is he? He's so sad.
He's super sad. And yeah, I mean, he probably just feels like, I mean, I don't know how Florida was, so I mean, he could say that he did great things for all he knows, but he probably just believes that nobody really knows his track record unless it's like someone like you or someone who's smart on politics that could be like, no, dipshit, you did a fucking terrible job, and here's why. Whereas I mean, like, I don't know as much, and I'm just like, all right, he said he did a good job, maybe he did a good job, and that's why he's saying he did a good job. But
Yeah.
like, this is something he needs attention on, so he's just gonna fucking cry for some pity right now.
I think what annoys me again is his entitlement. Like and the funny thing is, Republicans always say that about like Democrats, about how like, oh, lazy Democrats, lazy black people, they feel entitled, sit around and take welfare all day, and look at you, get your shit together, don't be a parasite, don't be a moocher, you gotta work for it and stuff. And then look at my brother and my daddy were president, and now people don't like me and don't want me to be. Why are you so fucking entitled? Why don't you do shit to make people actually like you? Why is you sitting there and complaining, like acting like, fine, if you're gonna vote for Trump, vote for Trump. Well, fuck you. We don't want to vote for you. Look at you. You're a joke. The thing is, he doesn't work for it. Like, dude, you're born into this elite family, and you could tell he's not interested in the actual political substance and the wonkiness of politics and the things that matter. What he's interested in is coasting as part of this, or as part of the establishment, and taking money from his donors and giving his donors favors, and he just wants to be in this ruling class. There's no there in terms of wanting to make people's lives better. Like Bernie Sanders wants to make people's lives better. He cares about the substance, you can tell. Whereas Jeb Bush is just doing this because it's what he's supposed to do, because he's part of the fucking elite family, and he feels entitled, and he doesn't care about the politics. He cares about helping out his donors and being a bitch to his donors.
Yeah, they care about the power. That's why Donald Trump is running. He wants the power of being the president of the United States, whereas Hillary and Bernie want to make an actual fucking difference. That's why you see from their debate, they're actually talking about real shit, whereas the Republican debate, they're just fucking bashing on each other. But you're so right. It's so backwards. It's like all the fucking like Republicans have had shit handed to them their whole lives, and meanwhile they're against people who are, like that. Whereas like the liberals have actually fought and come up, their way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so backwards.
Hillary in my mind a little less. I'm more of a Bernie guy than a Hillary guy. I know Hillary's.
Yeah, but
she's also,
Hillary still had to like come up in her ranks and shit. She's still,
the
a little
problem
more.
with her is that she's also, kind of sold out to the establishment. The amount of money she's taken from Wall Street, and that worries me about her big time. But yeah, you're right that there's no denying that on the Democratic side, when they're discussing stuff, it's fucking issues. Like, Bernie Sanders has bent over backwards to avoid ever doing personal attacks. He's asked questions that have nothing to do with substance, and he pivots to substance. That's the opposite of what politicians usually do. They're usually asked substantive questions, and then they pivot to, talking about whatever, some vacuous talking
Bullshit.
points about
Yeah.
their family and their dog and shit. Bernie's asked some shit about himself, and he's like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about the economy. This is about all this different shit that's actually important.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me do last thing here. I know you got stuff that you got to do today, and I got to fucking rest because I've been working 7 days a week. Veganism. I was thinking about veganism. That's where, basically to ruin it here and fucking give a horrible definition to it. But it's like, you don't eat stuff that's has anything to do with animals, really. It's like you don't want to be involved in this system of eating stuff that involves us humans, like slaughtering shit. And it just feels wrong when, like, you and I, obviously we eat meat, we eat sometimes very bad diets, but it's like,
Yeah.
I was thinking about veganism, and the thing is, from a moral perspective, I get it. Like, I think they're right from a moral perspective. Like, to make a decision that I'm not gonna eat anything that has anything to do with animals. So, like, no, there's no, like, because of your diet, you didn't inflict pain on any other living thing on this planet. I think that's like a morally superior thing. You know what I mean? I think it's like, that does make you more, like, socially conscious and aware, and that is like a higher moral position. But the thing that I struggle with is just, I can't fucking do it. I'm so heavy culturally raised in a scenario where I do eat meat. I love fucking Philly cheesesteaks. I love cheeseburgers. I love chicken sandwiches. We could go down the list. I love all that shit. And it's such a big part of me growing up that while I do think vegans are probably morally correct, it strikes me as like it's this ideal that I wouldn't really be able to live up to, and I can't bring myself to that position because while it is morally correct, it's not enough of a driving force to make me reverse all the stuff I already know and love.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, but it's just like you meet a lot of vegans and they bend the rules so much on it too that it's just like, all right, if you can't even strictly do it, then why the fuck would I want to do it? And meat is just too good. There's just some things that like you need that are just too good. I mean, like I try to do a low carb
we need protein.
diet.
We get protein from meat.
Yeah, and is fish allowed or is fish not allowed for vegans?
That's a good question. I don't think it is. Or maybe there's like
I don't think it is either. But then
different kinds
there's like
of
different
veganism.
levels to it, which is just like stupid. Because sometimes you could probably make an argument to a vegan. They're like, oh, I only eat this and that, and they're like, but there's probably something got killed for this or something. And they're like, yeah, but that's more blah blah. And you're like, no, just fucking eat meat. Like it's good. Like maybe you don't want to eat McDonald's meat because they slaughter their animals and shit like that. Eat like a Whole Foods or something.
Yeah, no, I kind of, I see where they're coming from, man. I do. Like, I like the idea that, I like the fact that they exist. I like the fact that they're trying not to, eat stuff that is involved with animals. I think a lot of people probably should do that. I just struggle with it. But also, I think that they are, and according to a lot of them too, they'll say, look, by and large though, they're too preachy as a group. Like they know, like no, I am way more moral than you because of what I'm doing and what I'm eating and how I'm living. So like they'll look down on you and be super aggressive in it if you talk to real hardcore vegans. And it's like, well, I'm not sure you're gonna, the way they come off when they talk like that, you're not gonna convert anybody. Like again,
Well,
and
that's
I
like,
see
yeah, that's
this
like,
is coming from somebody I sympathize with them. I see where they're coming from, and I'm giving them credit for actually being more moral than somebody like me. But I can't.
they got to
It's
rub it in your face.
I'm too far gone already. Yeah, and to throw it in people's faces and be like, well, I eat tofu instead of this. Okay, all right, buddy. But the fall back a little bit. I hear you. I think you're better with your diet, but don't. And that's the thing. I would never call for. What are you gonna do? Fucking ban meat? No. What you got to do is have laws in place that have. And I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but I think it's true. Humane lifestyles. Like, okay, so instead of having fucking cows or pigs or whatever cooped up in a cage where they live horrendous lives and they're miserable and all day long, yeah, buy free range cows, whatever, chickens, all that shit. There should be strict rules set up where you have to treat, animals with a certain level of humanity before you slaughter them and eat them. And even killing them, it's got to
like
be,
take them out for a drink first.
What's that?
You gotta take them out for a drink and a dinner first before you
Yeah,
can.
like you gotta give the cow a hand job and let him know it's all okay, and you just gotta, it's like you have to. And
Or
when
you
you
could be
kill
like
them,
the
it
guy in
shouldn't be.
Florida
It's got to be
trying to like stick your
humane
dick in a
killing.
horse.
It can't be like painful. It's got like factory farming is beyond fucked up. They need new rules to make it more, just humane.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's why people say like CrossFitters and vegans are so alike because they're always like rubbing it in your face and like saying why you should be doing it or why you should be trying it. You're like, dude, I'm gonna do it if I want to, not because you're like forcing it upon me.
Yeah, and I like both, by the way. I like vegans and CrossFitters because I think I wish I had the time and the dedication to do those things, but I don't. So I like them, but as your people rightly say, sometimes they get a little preachy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got, brother. You got anything you want to talk about, or we're all set?
No, my dogs are starting to go crazy. I'm all buddy.
All right, man. So we'll talk soon. Have a good time at the soccer games and stuff. Tell your sister or your fiance I say hi.
Thanks, kid.
All right, man. Later.
Peace.